If you have young children and you're building an estate plan, most parents focus on one question: how do I leave something meaningful to my kids? But there's another question that is just as important. How do you protect what you are leaving behind? Because without the right structure, your children's inheritance could be exposed to creditors, bankruptcy, or even a future divorce. And that can happen long after you are gone. Today, I want to walk you through how to protect your children's inheritance so it actually stays with them. When parents think about leaving assets to their children, they often think about the transfer, who gets what and when. But what happens after your child receives those assets is just as important, because once assets are distributed outright, they're no longer protected. They become part of your child's personal ownership, and that changes everything. Let's start with a simple example. If your child receives a large inheritance directly, that money is now in their name. That means it may be subject to their creditors if they are ever sued or owe debts. It could be subject to their bankruptcy if they face financial challenges, and divorce if assets become part of the marital property of their marital estate. These are not things parents like to think about, but they are real risks, and they are more common than people realize. This is where structure becomes critical. Instead of leaving assets outright to your child, you can leave them in a trust. A properly structured trust can provide asset protection because the assets are not fully owned by your child personally. They are held within the trust and managed according to your instructions. This creates a layer of separation between your child and the assets themselves. That separation is what provides protection. For example, if your child faces a lawsuit, assets held in a properly structured trust may be shielded from certain claims. If your child goes through a divorce, trust assets may not be treated the same way as personal assets would be treated. And if your child faces financial hardship, the structure of the trust can help preserve what you left for them. Now, this does not mean that all trusts provide the same level of protection. The way the trust is designed really does matter. For example, giving your child full control over the trust too early can reduce that protection. On the other hand, a well-structured trust can maintain protection over time while still allowing your child to benefit from the assets. Let's look at a simple scenario. A parent leaves assets directly to their child. Years later, the child goes through a divorce. Those assets may now be part of the marital estate, depending on how they were handled by the adult child. Now, compare that to a situation where the assets are held in a trust. The trust structure can help keep those assets separate and protected, even if the adult child was married and going through a divorce. That difference comes down to planning. Another important point is that protection does not mean restriction. A properly designed trust can still allow your child to access funds for important needs: education, housing, healthcare, and other life events. The goal is not to limit your child. It is to protect what you are leaving behind while still supporting them. This type of planning is especially important when your children are young, because you are not just planning for who they are today. You are planning for who they will become over time. And that includes unexpected challenges that may arise in the future. If you're thinking about this, here are a few questions to consider. If your child received their inheritance today, would it be protected? Are you leaving assets outright or through a structured trust? Does your current plan account for risks like creditors or divorce? And does your plan reflect long-term protection, not just short-term distribution? Because those details do matter. If you have young children and you are putting a plan in place, this is an important area to get right. At Allenby Law, we help parents create estate plans that not only transfer assets, but protect those assets. We design trusts that provide structure, flexibility, and long-term protection for your children. If you would like to review your plan or explore your options, you can reach out to us for a consultation. Because estate planning is not just about giving your children something. It is about making sure that they are able to keep it. And if you found this helpful, follow along for more insights on how to protect your family and your future.